The reason that Elon Musk is so dangerous to America is because of his historical roots and where he grew up in South Africa during the height of apartheid. This man behind me, Nelson Mandela Madiba, he plays such a pivotal role in ending apartheid. That being the case, let's just start. I want first to give you a brief history lesson on apartheid. I don't even know if they're teaching it in schools anymore. I don't know if they do, but they should. So let's get started. Apartheid in South Africa lasted from 1948 to 1994. I remember this distinctively because I remember when I was in high school and college, definitely in college, we were protesting the apartheid end. During this time, the white minority government in South Africa implemented laws to enforce racial segregation and oppression of non-white South Africans. Now, here's a breakdown of key events and policies during this period relevant to Elon, and I made it relevant to Elon Musk and his father, because you have to understand how the environment you grew up around impacts how you think and how you flow and how you operate. Y'all got to excuse my dog. I have a dog barking, but class is in session. We're going to keep learning. All right. From 1948 to 1994, this was the apartheid era. In 1948, the National Party won elections and formally instituted apartheid, which enacted laws to segregate races in all aspects of life, including education, housing, and employment. Everything was separate, okay? The Population Registration Act of 1950, and again, we're talking about in South Africa, classified people by race. And the Group Areas Act of 1950 assigned separate residential areas for those races. Black South Africans were denied political rights and forced into homelands under Bantu Authorities Act of 1951, okay? From 1950s to 1970s, this is the height of apartheid and resistance. Let's first talk about some of the massacres and some of the uprisings. Now, and again, I'm going to do a whole hour and a half, 2-hour lecture on my YouTube channel another day to dive into what apartheid was. But I just wanted to give you like a quick Cliff Note version so you understand how dangerous Elon Musk, his ideologies, and how he's able to just come and take over, because it's in his blood, in his DNA. His people did that. That's all the white South Africans ever did. All right, let's talk about the Sharpeville Massacre in 1960. This is when police killed 69 anti-apartheid protesters, leading to the banning of opposition groups. Banned opposition groups like the African National Congress and Pan-Africanist Congress. In 1970, economic growth and sanctions. While apartheid thrived economically for the white minority, international sanctions and growing resistance began affecting the country. Other countries, other places around the world started hearing about apartheid, while the white people in South Africa were just getting rich. I mean, just opulence, okay? Let's talk about the Soweto uprising of 1976. Thousands of black students protested against the compulsory use of Afrikaners in schools, leading to brutal crackdowns by police. And again, in my in-depth teaching, I'm going to tell you the difference between the Afrikaners and the Africans. It's fascinating. Fascinating. All right, let's talk about Earl Musk, Earl Musk's father, who was Elon's dad. All right. Earl Musk was born in 1946 and was a South African electromechanical engineer. During his early years, South Africa was deeply segregated and apartheid policies was at their peak, okay? So, of course, Elon was born in 1971, actually in June, in Pretoria, South Africa, during the latter years of apartheid. So he has a father who was drenched in apartheid culture, and then you have Elon, who grew up around and in and all of that. And I remember listening to an interview that Elon's father said, and he was saying how the white South Africans were terrified that the blacks would overthrow them. And the thing is, that has been the fear of white people throughout the world. They are afraid that the people they oppress are going to turn around and oppress them and or kill them or worse. To me, that sounds like a guilty conscience. All right, Elon. As a white South African, Elon Musk and his family benefited from apartheid privileges such as access to top schools and economic opportunities that were denied to non-white citizens. Musk attended Pretoria Boys High School, a prestigious institution that was inaccessible to black students at the time. Now, I do know that Elon was bullied profusely, and one time he was even almost damn near beaten to death. So, I do believe there were some, and it may have been some undiagnosed mental illness going on with this young man, but I do know he was bullied profusely. There are also allegations, especially from his mother, because she's written numerous books talking about how Elon's father was extremely physically abusive to her, and that the kids would see it. Elon and his brother and sister would actually see the physical abuse. I wasn't there, I don't know, but if that's the case, how you raise impacts every part of you, your psychology, your pathology. All right, so let's move on. Musk left South Africa in 1988 at the age of 17, partly, and listen to this, partly to avoid mandatory military service. Sounds sort of similar to his boy Trump, right? So he wanted to avoid the mandatory military service in the apartheid era South Africa Defense Force, which was involved in enforcing. He would have been on the side enforcing apartheid and fighting in conflicts against anti-apartheid movements. In the 1980s, let's get back to the apartheid, there were increasing pressures of the collapse of apartheid. In the 1980s, apartheid was under severe international pressure due to economic sanctions, embargoes, and international resistance. Again, the world was really starting to wake up to the atrocities and all the deaths caused by apartheid. And of course, Nelson Mandela, he was imprisoned. Nelson Mandela, imprisoned since 1962, became a global symbol of resistance. In 1990, under President F.W. de Klerk, apartheid laws began to be repealed and Mandela was released. In 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections, leading to Mandela's presidency and the official end of apartheid. So let's, in conclusion, during the time Elon Musk and his family lived in South Africa, the country was under strict apartheid rule, and white South Africans, including his family, lived in a privileged system that marginalized the majority black population. Elon Musk left before apartheid ended and spent most of his adult life outside of Africa. He moved away to Canada, and eventually in 2002, when he got his citizenship to the United States. Whole point being this, family. If you have grown up all your life in privilege, affluence, opulence, and a white power structure, that's what he's bringing with him here. Now, I don't know this man from a can of paint, but I see how he moves. And one thing about white South Africans who participated and were part of and were complicit in apartheid is they have that takeover spirit, and they don't give a damn. And all they see is green, money, power. So that is what your boy, President Agent Orange, has advising him, and who now has access over this agency, pseudo agency called Doge. So it's so much deeper, you all. It's so much deeper. And unfortunately, many of the MAGA and Trump supporters don't even have the history of this. They're not even educated enough, don't even know what apartheid is. If I show them this picture right here behind me, they probably think it's my granddaddy. They don't know it's Nelson Mandela. They probably don't. Matter of fact, we should do a poll. I should go around and interview people, white people, and ask them, do they know? Just walk over this picture and see if they know who this is. I might just do that. All right, family. Class was in session. I'm going to, again, I'll let you know when the hour and a half lecture about apartheid is up. Thank you all so much for supporting me. Continue to like, share, and subscribe on my YouTube, please. Because the reality is I want to get monetized. And I want to do this like constantly. I just want to keep giving us knowledge, because in these days and times, we don't know what knowledge is going to be there. So I want to keep spewing out and spitting out information. But I also got to run a real estate business. But monetization sure does add up quickly. So if I can make this money doing this and educating, it's a blessing. So thank you all so much. God bless you, and talk to you soon.